What's up, guys? Got another UFC video here today. It's going to be on the UFC Fight Night card, UFC Fight Night 90, those Anjos versus Alvarez. So I'm going to be doing a video obviously on my predictions slash picks, a little bit of analysis on the fights. I'm giving you guys my picks pretty much, talk about the fighters and their skill sets and whatnot, and why I'm picking them. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the main card, which I think it is the main card. As you guys can see here, they just don't really have it separated by early prelims, by prelims, or by main card. It's just all just thrown on here pretty much. But I've already done my picks from the Makdessi fight all the way till all the way to the bottom to the Herrera fight. So now I'm be doing the main card, which includes 5 fights from Dos Anjos all the way to Pyle fight. So I'm gonna start with the Pyle fight, guys. So here we go. So first fight on the main card, I think, is Pyle versus Alberto Mina. So guys, I could really talk about this fight a lot, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep it very short and sweet, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick Pyle, guys. So the reason I'm picking Pyle is, first of all, Alberto Mina, this guy seems like he's really not too good. His last fight, he looked really bad against Sexy Yama. He did drop Sexy Yama, I think, in the end of the second round. To be honest, this guy seems like he just gasses fast, and he just doesn't seem like he's really a super good fighter or anything. Now, when I look at Pyle, this guy's a veteran. He's getting older now, 40 years old. Alberto Mina, he's not exactly super young either. He's 34 years old when looking at his page. But I mean, Pyle here, this guy's a veteran. He's coming off a win, 3rd round knockout. His last fight. I'm opening up the pages here so you guys get a little bit more info here. So Pyle right here, striking in jiu-jitsu, 40 years old. So he is coming off a win against Sean Spencer. And yeah, he was able to get that win, pretty much able to outlast him and whatnot. Before that, he had lost 2 in a row. And also got knocked out in one of them. Now we look at Alberto Mina. Summary, submissions, and judo throws. This guy's 34 years old. Good reach for a 170 pounder at a 77-inch reach, so that's good reach. But Pyle doesn't exactly have short reach either. Anyways, you can see he's 12-0, so a lot of people are gonna want to pick him. He's undefeated. But yeah, he won a split decision win against Akiyama or Sexyama. He had less strikes than him. He did have takedowns on him, but a lot of people thought Akiyama won the fight. Before that, he beat some guy named Shinzo Anzai by 1st round knockout. And this guy, I think they were saying this guy came in on 10 days notice, and yeah, it looked like it was just pretty much like a brawl and shit. But yeah, this guy's not really at the level that Pyle is. But yeah, Pyle's fought everybody, guys. This guy's fought a lot of guys. He's fought Mike Brown. He beat Rick Story. He's fought a lot of guys. This guy's a veteran. And pretty much, guys, I'm picking him because, well, he's a veteran. He's gonna have more experience. He's a more well-rounded fighter. I believe he has the better striking here. Really good jiu-jitsu, just like Mina, except I think Pyle has, he can really bust out those slick submissions. I'm not saying Mina can, but I don't really think this fight's going to be on the ground. As you guys can see, Pyle is also a really good wrestler. Great takedown defense. Mina does get takedowns in his fights, but I really just see this fight staying on the feet. And on the feet, I think Pyle is just a way better striker. The only thing about Pyle here is he's getting older. His chin's not super good anymore. Seems like he gets hurt a lot easier. So that's one thing to know here, guys. Alberto here might be able to catch Pyle, maybe finish him, knock him out and whatnot. But I really think just the better overall fighter here, Pyle, should be able to get this done. And I actually see a finish happening in this fight, man. Pyle really finishes a lot of his fights. And yeah, this guy has way better cardio also. Mina, like I said, his last fight did not look good. He gassed in like the 3rd round or whatever. Yeah, he just seems like he just kind of wants to outpoint you pretty much from what I see. He's not really a super good fighter, even though he's undefeated. So yeah, guys, I'm picking Pyle, and I'm going to go ahead and say he gets also a 3rd round finish. So 3rd round knockout for Pyle is going to be my pick. Next fight, Duffy against Clarke. Now, I didn't study Clarke too much, but from what I see, this guy's just not good enough to beat Joe Duffy, guys. Joe Duffy's a really good fighter, great striker. Also has lots of submission wins. So he has good jiu-jitsu also. Here's his page. And the thing about Mitch Clarke here, you know, he's good on the ground, but as you guys can see, his takedown attempts are very, very poor. Look at that, takedown accuracy at 20%. This guy, you know, he's not super good with his takedowns. Now, if he does get Joe Duffy down, that could be a problem for Duffy, but, you know, Duffy is good on the ground, and on his last fight, Duffy, you know, when he got taken down by Dustin Poirier, you know, he really stayed on the ground way too long instead of, you know, getting back up and whatnot. But I don't really see the same thing happening here. I think he's going to come more improved, way better takedown defense. And anyways, Mitch Clarke here, his takedowns don't really seem too good, guys, just based on the statistics. So, you know, it doesn't seem like Mitch Clarke should be able to take him down. This guy has beat Alaya Quinta, but as you guys can see, this guy fights like every year. Another reason I'm picking Duffy here. There's no consistency here from Mitch Clarke. I mean, his last fight was in 2015. Before that, 2014 was his last win. You know, this guy just doesn't fight consistently enough. So, I mean, how am I going to pick this guy who hasn't really been consistent, you know? Compared to Joe Duffy here, you know, he is coming off a loss, but this guy, you know, he's consistent. You know, he hasn't taken a long layoff or anything like that. He's a way better striker than Clarke on the feet. Take on the fence should be way more improved. I think he also has a really good ground game, just like Clarke. And the wrestling, I just don't see Clarke repeatedly taking down Duffy or just able to hold him down in general. So I'm going with the favorite here, guys. I'm going with Joe Duffy. And I also see a finish coming in this fight, and I think Joe Duffy keeps it on the feet, and I think he's going to get either a second round or third round finish. But let's just go ahead and say a second round TKO, guys. So that's going to be my pick. So the next fight here, let's see if it's going to load up, because there we go. So Alan Jouban against Bilal Muhammad. So I don't know too much about Muhammad, guys. I did not study him super long, because I really have to push out these videos, because, you know, it's already fight day pretty much. It's already Thursday right now, so I've got to push out these videos. But anyways, guys, Jouban, this guy's fought way better fighters than Muhammad has fought. Muhammad is undefeated. From what I heard of this guy is good everywhere. He puts the pressure on you. Good striker. Don't know too much about his wrestling, but let's go ahead and just open up his page so you guys get some info on him. But to be honest, guys, and I'm picking Jouban here, guys. Jouban, just a better fighter, I would say. Way better striker. As you guys can see right there, explosive and dynamic. And he also only really loses to, you know, really high-level guys. I mean, he lost to Tumanov. That guy's a really high-level guy. I think he also lost to Warley Alves. Yeah, Warley Alves. But, I mean, Warley Alves, it looks like, based on stats, looks like Jouban won the fight, but I heard that fight was in Brazil. So, you know how that goes, you know. Anyways, here's Muhammad's page. Summary is everything. And he has 3 wins by knockout, coming off a 4th round TKO of Tough 21 vet Steve Carl on April 30th. Blue belt in BJJ, guillotine, jab, Titan FC welterweight champion. So this guy's a champion, you know, from another organization. But, I mean, that doesn't mean too much, you know, until you get to the UFC and we see your skill set and whatnot. But the fight is close, guys, based on the odds here. So some people are picking him. Negative 140 only for Jouban. I thought that would be a lot higher. So, you know, people are picking Muhammad. They've seen this guy fight. He's undefeated. Seems to be a very solid fighter. But for me, I think Jouban's just a better fighter here, especially with his striking. And I want to say he's going to be able to just, you know, stay on the outside, because I know Muhammad's going to be coming forward a lot. So I think Jouban here stays outside, uses his kicks, his range, uses his striking. I'm not too sure how good of a wrestler Muhammad is, guys. So, I mean, I can't really comment too much on his wrestling or grappling skills, but I'm pretty sure he's decent at that. So I think he's gonna want to take Jouban down. But if it stays on the feet for, you know, too long of a while, Jouban's gonna be able to win this fight easily, guys. That's what I think. So I'm gonna pick Jouban here, guys. And Muhammad seems like a tough guy, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Jouban gets a finish here, guys. And I'm gonna go ahead and say Jouban by 3rd round knockout. That's my pick. Alright, now we're onto the co-main event here. Big Country, Roy Nelson against Derrick Lewis. Alright, so both these guys, heavy hitters, obviously, you know, they're heavyweights, big guys, especially Lewis. This guy's a really big guy, has reach advantage. His striking's really getting a little bit better, you know, he's working on that boxing. Takedown defense, not too bad, but not super great either. Big country. This guy just, you know, very one-dimensional nowadays. Doesn't really use his ground game, which I really think is, you know, very good at heavyweight. But he doesn't use it no more. This guy's all about throwing the overhand right. Lewis, not exactly a super well-rounded fighter either, but, you know, I'd say, you know, since him being younger, being faster, more explosive, would probably be better on the feet here than Big Country. But Big Country, guys, the guy has a good chin, granite chin. His recent loss to who was it again? Yeah, Mark Hunt, where he got knocked out. You know, that's just gonna happen sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Especially by Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt's just so much of a high-level striker. You know, K1 level striker. So, you know, it's not like this guy's un-KOable. But I mean, look at the summary for Big Country: grappling, world-class experience, and KO power. This guy has huge knockout power, but that's if he lands that right hand. I mean, he has power with his left hand too, but it's all about that right hand. That's all he looks forward, or that's all he looks like. That's all he looks to throw, pretty much, guys. He just wants to come forward, throw that right hand. You know, Derrick Lewis knows this. A lot of the guys know this. His last fight against Jared Roshaw, he wasn't even able to get a finish against Roshaw, and Roshaw got destroyed by Lewis. I'm pretty sure Lewis knocked him out. Here's Lewis' page. Also, Lewis is 9 years younger. Big Country's getting older, getting slower. As you guys can see here, Lewis is on a 3-5 win streak, getting first-round knockouts and also a third-round knockout in there. His recent win was against Gabriel Gonzaga, who's a veteran in the heavyweight division. You know, he's not as good anymore, but, you know, still, you know, he still was able to finish him. Anyways, so, yeah, guys, I was kind of thinking about picking Big Country here because, you know, what if Big Country was able to take, you know, that damage from Lewis and be able to return back with the overhand right and knock him out. And that's very possible here because, you know, Big Country could probably absorb more damage than Lewis. But, I mean, Lewis hits hard. And, I mean, I'm not saying Big Country doesn't hit hard either. But I want to say Big Country here has a way better chin for sure. And, yeah, I mean, Lewis is going to hit hard. And Big Country's getting older. Should be able to take some shots. But, I mean, this is a heavyweight fight, guys. This is a very even fight, you know. I think this fight's going to be all stand-up. I really don't see Big Country out of nowhere switching his game to using his grappling skills. His recent fight against, not Roshaw, but against Barnett, he actually did get 4 takedowns, though. And Barnett's the big guy. So, I mean, if Big Country wants to fight smart guys, this guy could take down Lewis. Lewis taking the fence 64% almost, 63.33. Actually, same percentage as Big Country. You know, very similar with the takedown defense there. And, you know, Lewis, he's a big guy, so I think it's going to be a little bit hard initially for Big Country to take him down. I think Big Country is going to try to set up the takedowns by throwing the overhand right and then going for the takedown. But overall, I really just see this fight staying on the feet. And I see Lewis just being the faster guy, more explosive, way more power in Lewis's hands. It's just, you know, if Lewis gets caught, it's going to be over, guys. You know, Big Country just has that power, you know. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and take Derrick Lewis here. And I'm also going to say he finishes Big Country here. So I'm going to go ahead and say Derrick Lewis by second round knockout. Moving on. Main event here, guys. Rafael dos Anjos against Eddie Alvarez. So a lot of people here counting out Eddie Alvarez. But let's go ahead and look at the recent fights. Alright, so this is dos Anjos' page. Now both these guys, well-rounded fighters, good strikers, good, you know, good grappling. The BJJ advantage goes to dos Anjos. Striking advantage, you know, I guess it can go kind of either way. Alvarez has better boxing. Dos Anjos better multi-striking with, you know, with the leg kicks and whatnot, elbows. So summary: jiu-jitsu, underrated power. This guy does seem to have some underrated power though. Coming off a knockout win against Donald Cerrone, where he pretty much just hit that body real good. And of course, this guy really destroyed Anthony Pettis, landing 9 takedowns on him in a 5-round fight. We look at Eddie Alvarez summary: striking, boxing, and wrestling. That really describes Eddie Alvarez. he's kind of people really think this guy's kind of like a brawler, but he does have some good boxing, and he mixes in his boxing or mixes in takedowns with his striking skills. Now his last two fights, he did get wins, but they were split decision wins, guys. And a lot of people were saying, you know, well, he didn't win this fight and whatnot, or he's just getting, you know, he's just being boring using his wrestling. The thing is here, Eddie Alvarez is being a smart fighter, using the skills that he has to be able to win the fights, pretty much, you know. So he knew he was a way better wrestler than Pettis, so he used his wrestling, grappling skills to, you know, pretty much outgrind him, you know, to win the fight. And he got 6 takedowns on that fight against Melendez. He landed 3 takedowns. So, you know, this guy knows what he has to do to win, you know. Now, can he do that to Dos Anjos? I'm not too sure. You know, Dos Anjos is a big guy also, just like Alvarez. Both these guys seem kind of big. Not super big, but, you know, both of them seems like strong fighters. So, there's that to think about. But, yeah. About Dos Anjos, though, and his wrestling. His wrestling is also good, but Alvarez has the wrestling advantage, I would say, for sure. I say Alvarez is the better wrestler, but, you know, I don't know if he wants to take Dos Anjos down, since Dos Anjos does have some BJJ skills. So I want to say this whole fight is going to stay on the feet, but I think Alvarez will try to put Dos Anjos against the cage and try to grind them out for a bit, you know, get them tired and whatnot. Dos Anjos has good multi-skills, so maybe he's going to want to use the multi-clinch here in this fight and really land those elbows and knees. He was really talking about, you know, because he's been training at Thailand, I think, or something like that, or Singapore, where he's really been sharpening up his multi-skills, you know, with his elbows and whatnot. So I think he's going to be really wanting. To utilize his new skills that he's been learning, the multi skills with the elbows and the knees. But either way, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and just give you guys my pick. I'm gonna go ahead and take the underdog, guys. I just think Eddie Alvarez here is being overlooked. A lot of people think that Dos Anjos is gonna run right through Alvarez, and Alvarez is a really tough guy, you know, really gritty and whatnot, and I think he could be able to pull out this win, guys. I think this fight will go, you know, pretty much, I think, all 5 rounds. I don't see Alvarez really finishing Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos is also a tough guy. I see it being 5 rounds, and I see Eddie using his striking to set up the takedowns, and, you know, maybe landing some of those takedowns, and also using the, you know, the grinding against the cage, you know, and the clinch and whatnot, you know, just grinding him out, some dirty boxing. But Eddie Alvarez, I see him just being better with his hands. The thing about that is Dos Anjos fought someone with really good boxing. One of my favorite fighters, Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz is way longer. And yeah, Dos Anjos really kicked the shit out of Nate Diaz's leg. Now Dos Anjos could kick Alvarez's leg a lot also, and Alvarez did lose against Cerrone, kind of like similar. You know, he kept on getting leg kicked. I think Alvarez should have patched up that hole in his game, you know, susceptible to getting hit in the leg. Sorry about that, guys. So, you know, I think he's gonna patch up that hole, and if not, well, Dos Anjos is gonna kick the shit out of this guy's leg. So Dos Anjos has some nasty kicks, obviously to the body and obviously to the legs. But you know, both of them are going to be very, like, even, I think, because I think Alvarez is going to be putting a lot of the pressure, and Dos Anjos also wants to put the pressure on him. That's how he won the title. So it's going to be a very, very good fight. I think both of them are really going to go at it. But I'm going to go ahead and take Eddie Alvarez here, guys. So I think Eddie Alvarez here is going to win by split decision. So that's going to be my pick. Alright, guys, so that's it for the video, my picks. So to recap, I got Pyle winning by 3rd round knockout or TKO. Next fight, I got Duffy winning by 2nd round knockout. I think I said, yeah, 2nd round knockout. On the next fight, I got Jouban winning. I think I did say by knockout also on here. Yeah, I say Jouban's gonna win by 3rd round knockout, I guess. Yeah, 3rd round knockout for Jouban. And right here, Derrick Lewis against Big Country. I'm picking Derrick Lewis to win by 2nd round knockout. And finally, what I just said, Eddie Alvarez to win by a split decision. Alright, guys, so those are my picks. I've done the predictions on this whole card. I'm not going to be able to probably do all of them on the next card. I'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching the video. If you guys haven't joined DraftKings, join below in my description, links below. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching and enjoy the fights. Catch you on the next video.